Okay. Okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you guys to accept. Akonde, thank you so much for accepting. Thank you for joining us as well. We appreciate you guys. So, guys, just hold on. Let us just be patient. They're trying to
Hello.
put.
Hello.
Hi, Mickey.
Yes, hello, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. How's it going?
Yeah, we got there in the end.
Good to
Modern
have you with us.
technology, eh? Modern
Yeah,
technology.
yeah, technology. So when it's technology, you get these kind of things once in a
Yes,
while.
of course. Yeah.
Yes, it's good to see you, Mickey.
And you, my friend.
Yeah. So my name is Amos Joseph. So I'm the founder of Footballers Connect. So what we do is to try to see how we can enlighten young footballers in terms of the game, in terms of coaching, in terms of academics, just to ensure that they are equipped with good and well enough information, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we thought to connect with someone like you, who's a professional, who has been there. You've played football, you've coached football, and then now you're a technical director in Brooke House College. So just share with us, guys. Let me ask you this: how is it for you? How is it going there, right there in UK with the pandemic?
Well, obviously, at this moment in time, it's a frustrating time for everybody. Football is totally closed down. Nobody's back training, and I'm talking about professional teams here. So nobody's back training. We're still very much in lockdown, and will be for a while yet. So it's a frustrating time for all footballers and all football clubs. A lot of football clubs will be struggling financially. So what the future holds, we don't know yet. But hopefully, in the next few weeks, when the pandemic is over on top of the pandemic, we can all get back to doing what we love best, and that's either playing football, watching football, or coaching football. But at this moment in time, it's a frustrating time.
Interesting. So tell us, Mickey. Let's just shoot straight to the order of the day. Now, you played quite a number of games, and I'm thinking in my head, how did you play over 400 games, league appearances, and your career spanned over 15 years? What was the secret of your longevity? What was the secret? Tell us.
Well, I played at a decent level, as you know. I played in the Premier League. I played with some good players. I was very much a hod carrier. Do you know what a hod carrier is? It's somebody
No, not sure. Yeah.
So the bricklayer, he lays all the bricks, and he's the artist, and he's people that go up and down the ladder with all the bricks on their back. So I was a hod carrier. I was somebody who did the hard graft for the people like Alan Shearer, Matthew Letizia, people that were magicians with the ball. But I was seen as a somebody that you could rely on 9 times out of 10 to put in a decent performance and to give the players that could play the ball. So I was a ball winner. I give it to the people that could produce the wonder stuff to score goals. So and I was very, very fortunate that earlier on in my career I didn't have too many injuries, Amos. So I think the secret to any sort of success playing wise, if you're very, very lucky and you don't get too many injuries.
Interesting. I was speaking with a footballer from Hong Kong. His name is Alex Tayo Akonde. He's right on this chart now. He's following us, and then he told me about when he was injured. Was there ever a time you were injured in your career and then it took a while before you healed up? How was it like?
Well, I think if you play any professional sport, injuries are a part and parcel of it. I don't know of many footballers that go throughout their career without a serious injury, and not only does that test you physically, but it's a massive test for you mentally, because you spend an awful lot of time on your own, in the gym, rehabbing, away from the rest of the group, and sometimes that can be a real strain on you mentally.
Yeah.
But what you need to do, it's a process that you have to go through to get fit again. You have to follow your rehab, listen to the advice of the physiotherapist, and gradually work your way back into the group. And I think the longest spell I had out of it was probably 6 months. And to say that it was a mental test for me would be the truth, because you all the seeds of doubt crawl into your mind, and what you have to do is focus every day on yourself, getting yourself fit, and following the advice. And if you do that, then you come through that, and you come through it mentally stronger.
Interesting. I mean, we heard today that the German league is coming up, right? Like there's a date already set for resumption, and in the English Premier League there is discussions every day. What do you think should be done at this time?
Well, me personally, I don't think there should be any football at all until it's safe for the players. I think forget the spectators. I think that all these games can be played behind closed doors. That's not a problem. I think that there will be a massive pull on the resources. There's enormous amount of money in leagues, and especially the Premier League. But until it's safe for the players to actually participate in the games again, I don't think that anybody should be playing. At this moment in time, they're not back training. They're going to need at least 4 weeks to get back to full fitness. And basically until a vaccine is found, or until it is safe and there's enough testing that's able to be done for the players and staff and referees, then I don't believe that any game should be played.
Interesting. So now let's get to talk about Brooke House College, where you're currently the technical director. Tell us about your role. What exactly are you doing at Brooke House College? Haven't played, haven't coached at the highest level, of course. What are you doing at Brooke House?
Well, my role is classed as a technical director, and between myself and the coaches, we decide on the curriculum that the boys are going to follow in terms of their football path. Whether that be tactically, physically, spiritually, mentally. We have to come up with ideas that stimulate the players to perform to their best ability. What I also do is I go and visit lots of countries and try and recruit boys for our academy. I've been over to Nigeria on numerous occasions now, and found the talent wonderful. There's some unbelievable talent in Nigeria. Part of my job is to try and get these boys into the academy, get them coached on a daily basis, because we do it professionally. We are full-time, as well as their educational side. And then my job, basically, if they are good enough, is to get them into football clubs, simple as. Whether that's English clubs or foreign clubs. My job is to try and fulfil their potential on the training ground, and then to take that into professional football clubs. And we've had some good success out of it. Interesting,
quite interesting. So you were mentioning about Nigerian players, Nigerian young boys who are in your school. I mean, Shuffle Select. I want to say shout out to Shuffle Select. Thank you so much for bringing this on, for making this possible to speak with Micky today. We appreciate it, and the boys back in Nigeria appreciate it. So they come to Nigeria every year, organize some scouting programs, and then select the best of the best, and then offer them scholarship. Now, with the current situation in the world, what should we expect? Because a lot of people were looking forward to the program, and then they don't know what to expect. When is Brooke House coming for the next scouting program? Are you looking at anything?
Well, Amos, I think the simple answer to that is, when we're able to, when it's safe, first of all, and then when it's possible to get out there to visit. We were out there just before the pandemic shut everything down, and we saw some wonderful talent, as I've said before. But until it's safe to do so, we won't be coming out. But through Shuffle Select, You know, the boys can be in touch with Shuffle if they and express an interest, and I'm sure that he can give them some guidance on how we take it forward from their interest. You know, but you can be rest assured that as soon as it's safe to do so, we'll be out to see Shuffle and to see some wonderful talent again.
Interesting. So, you've got quite a number of Nigerians in your squad. I don't know. A lot of people come, apart from the ones selected by Shuffle, there are some others who also come to your school. Is there anything special about Brooke House? Because I'm sure that in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world, there are colleges that also offer the same, almost similar things that Brooke House offers. What exactly is the difference? What distinguishes Brooke House?
Listen, we are different. We're not the same as everybody else. It's a simple fact. You know, our success rate in getting players from grassroots into professional football clubs is second to none. But we like to think that we do it so professionally that, you know, we give the boys a pathway to get into the professional ranks, and then it's an easy transition for them because they're full-time training, as they would in a professional club. And as I said before, we cater for everything. You know, all games are videoed. We have a montage of their best bits that we send out to football clubs. But it's the full-time training that they get. You know, we cater for everything. You know, the physical side of it, we've got a full-time sports scientist. As I said before, we video all the games. The training is by fully qualified ex-professional footballers, you know, so we're very much different from any other school. And plus the fact, you know, don't forget the educational side of it as well is important to us because, you know, for every JJ Akocha, every Kanu, every Undidi, there's players that come over to England that don't quite make it. But what we do offer to them is a pathway, from an educational point of view, to the next step. Now, whether it be university in England or university in the States, you know, that's a pathway that we can offer them because not everybody, Amos, I'm afraid to say, is going to be a professional footballer.
Obviously. Amazing. I mean, you guys have got quite a very good program for the guys. I was meaning to ask the players who don't make it professionally. Now, aside from Brooke House, let's take for instance in the academy, in the Brooke House Academy, the guys who don't make it professionally in the long run. What exactly are the programs for these guys? How do they move up in other parts of sports, in other parts of football of the game? What are your opportunities available?
Well, Amos, I think in life and in football terms as well, everybody finds their level. You know, I think that, you know, whilst everybody would like to be in the professional football club, you know, the fallout rate is enormous. But what we offer them is an idea of what it's actually going to take to be a professional footballer. Now, at 18, when players leave our academy, or 19, some players are not physically developed anyway, and it could take them another 3-4 years somewhere else playing non-league football. Because there are other tiers other than the professional ranks, university football, they could come again, they could develop and come again, you know. So the fact that, you know, at 18, 19, they don't get scouted by a professional club, that doesn't mean that that's the end of their football career. They could come back to Nigeria and play a decent standard in Nigeria.
Interesting. So, I mean, someone is asking a question. Sido Deyinka, I'm not sure where he's from. There are people from Germany, America, UK, Turkey who are following us right now.
Wow.
They're interested. Yeah. So I might have to ask everybody to tell us where they're watching from, so Micky could know that this is a serious business, right? Okay. So he says, how are you coping with students training and class academics together without being clashed? Right? How do they jostle these together between classroom work and then playing football at the same time? How does it work?
How does it work? Well, quite simply, what happens is the students are working from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. with a lunch break and breaks in between. So they're doing their classwork then, and then from 3 o'clock until 5 o'clock, they're out on the pitches working. You know, and that is 5 days a week plus 1 game day as well. And then if we don't have a game day, we may train 6 days a week. And there's 1 rest day in between that. So as you can see from that, they're probably doing more than professional footballers do anyway in terms of training. But that's how their days are broken down.
Interesting. So I'm going to go back to my question now. So do you think the Premier League is the right place for a young player to develop?
Well, I mean, that's a massive debate. You know, I mean, if my boy was lucky enough to be scouted by a Premier League club, how could you turn him away from that place? Because best coaches, best facilities, that would be really difficult. But what is the pathway for players who join a Premier League club? How are they going to get into the first team? You know, and that has got to be the question, because a lot of these Premier League academies have a lot of players that don't actually play for, say, for instance, a Manchester City. You know, what they have to do is then move on from Manchester City once they've served their scholarships, and then go on to play at another football club. So that's a really difficult question to answer, you know, because I guess from a financial point of view, it's always better to join a Premier League club if that's what you're looking for. But from a professional point of view, in terms of playing games, you might often be better to join a lower league club or a club in the Championship, because the pathway to the first team is a bit easier.
Very true. So I'll take someone now. Justin Matthew says he's watching from Abuja. Thank you, Matthew. I said I wanted to get one of my players to come to Brooke House College, but the parents cannot afford the fees. How do I get scholarship for him to be there? I mean, that is why Shuffle Select organizes these programs in Lagos and in Abuja. You can be a part of have your boy be a part of the scouting program. He might be lucky to get picked, and then he gets his scholarship. Nobody can determine these things. He is only going to determine it for himself on the field of play, right? All right. So let's talk about the Nigerian players that have joined your academy, right? What would you have to say about their development? Do you think they're technically sound? Because there is often this argument about players from Africa not being technically sound or not being
no
tactical. Tell us.
No, listen. Some of our better players are Nigerian boys, you know, because technically they are very good. You know, and I have to say that when I come to Nigeria, I'm astounded at the pitches that they play on. You know, I'm in awe of the boys that they can go out and play on some of the not so perfect pitches and show the amount of technical ability that they have. Because I find with the Nigerian boys that they're physically very strong, they're technically very good. Now, whether they can apply themselves to what the coaches want to do, then that is another question. So tactically, at times, they're like free spirits. You know, if you just let them play, they're good. But what they need to learn maybe a little bit more of is the tactical side of the game, rather than just playing and being a free spirit. But in my opinion, I find them physically very good. And from a technical point of view, very good also.
Have you had any opportunity of fielding any Nigerian player in your teams while you were playing or while you were coaching? Has there ever been any Nigerian player who played under you?
No, unfortunately not. I was trying to rack my brain when I was managing in the Premier League with Leicester whether we had any Nigerian boys, but I can't. I honestly, Amos, I can't say that I have. But I'll give you one good story from Brooke House about a Nigerian boy. and that was a lad called Makanjula, who came through the Nigerian youth system, came to Brooke House College, studied, and
he played for the under-17.
We managed to get him a trial at Leicester City, where he signed a 2-year pro contract. You know, because he was good enough. You know, he had very good ability, technically very, very good, and Leicester City saw enough of him in the trial period to give him a 2-year deal.
Wow, marvelous, marvelous. So aside from Makonjola, what do you think about Nigerian players generally? I'm sure you know JJ Okocha, you know Kanu. What do you think?
Listen, I've had the real pleasure to have met Kanu and JJ Okocha whilst at Brooke House, because they are frequent visitors to the school. We class them as our friend. And I love the Nigerian players, the individuals. You know, I love Ndidi at Leicester City. You know, he's a real worker, grafter, puts the team before himself. And, you know, I admire the technical ability that they have. You've just spoken there about Kanu, by the way, scored a hat-trick in 15 minutes for Arsenal against Chelsea. Yeah, I just saw it on the television today, and what ability that boy had.
Yeah.
You know, so as I said, I met him at Brooke House College a few months ago, and it was a real pleasure to welcome him to the school and to show him round.
I hear that JJ Okocha's son is in your college. Is that for real?
It's right, yes.
Wow, interesting. So maybe you can tell us, just give us an insight as to how he's developing. Because we're looking for him to come and play for Nigeria.
I really can't talk about individuals that are at the school at this moment in time.
I get it. I understand. So someone is saying that how do I get contact of Shuffle Select? Hey, Shuffle Select is following us right now. You can drop your phone number, Shuffle Select. Please, someone wants to contact you. Or you can add Shuffle Select on Instagram. You would get in touch with them, and then they will get back to you. Have you been to Peru before?
Sorry?
Peru. Have you been to Peru?
Peru, no.
Someone was asking what you think of Peruvian players.
Nobby Solano. He was a Peruvian player that played in the Premier League for Newcastle. Yeah, right winger. He was very good.
Exactly.
You put me on the spot there, Amos. I couldn't tell you another one. But listen, going back to Nigerian players, and if they're not able to get drop Shuffle Select a line, you know, send him some footage. You know, get some footage of you actually playing a game. And send that to Shuffle.
Exactly.
You know, so there's various ways you can be scouted. Whether you go to one of the trials that Shuffle has, which is fantastic. I would recommend that way if you could do that. But if not, get a montage of your best bits together and send it to Shuffle.
Interesting. So during your playing career or your managerial career, let me put it this way: your playing career or your managerial career, if you had an opportunity, which would you fancy?
Wow. Well, listen, nothing beats playing. No, seriously. Well, if you've ever managed a group of footballers, I managed in the Premier League, the highest level, you know, and that was a real honour for me. But as a player, you look after yourself. You get yourself ready for a game. You know, you follow the coaching that is selected for you to do, and you have to get yourself prepared for that, to produce it on a Saturday or a Wednesday or a Tuesday, whenever you're performing. Now, a manager, he has to think of everybody else. He has to make sure that everybody's motivated. You know, and 9 times out of 10, you know, you can't keep everybody happy in the squad, because you can only keep 11 players on the pitch. They're happy. The subs are reasonably happy because they're in the squad. And it's the ones that are left out of the squad that you probably have more problems with, because they don't particularly like the coach because you've not selected them. and you spend more time sometimes worrying about the players that are not involved than you should worrying about the players that are actually playing and performing for you. So it's a real fine balancing act between keeping everybody happy. But ultimately, nothing beats playing.
Okay, so I'm going to take questions from Okpeyemi Imoru. Okay, she says, how do you manage the students' ego at this tender age and getting to mold them to be better players? So if you find players who've got ego, how do you manage them?
No, I think that we have an ethos at these schools that says that, you know, we're all playing and working for the same goal. You know, whilst we encourage everybody to be an individual and to show us their talents,
Yeah,
you know, nothing comes before the team. So, you know, if you don't want to be part of a group and you don't want to work hard and be part of what we're trying to do at the school, then, you know, they quickly find their way down the pecking order. So we have an ethos at the school that says we work hard for each other. And if we can achieve success, we achieve that together rather than as individuals. But don't get me wrong, you know, whilst it is a team game, there is time for individuals as well, you know, to show their talents.
Of
But
course.
we encourage it in the right areas and at the right time.
Interesting. So I want to ask this now. John Abalaka is asking, he says, how can we initiate a partnership scheme on Edu Soccer where club players can still pursue their academics? So is Brooke House open up for partnership from other bodies? Can I come and partner with Brooke House? Is it possible?
Yeah, time to press shuffle select again.
Yeah, once again, I think everything needs to be going through shuffle select. I think that is the best course of action for you. And then, you know, these things we can talk about, you know. But I think initially through shuffle, these things can be discussed, worked on, and maybe fostered. Yeah, for definite.
Interesting. So you played for many years, and then you coached for a very long time as well, and then you coached quite a number of clubs.
Yeah.
Kali Tio is asking, is it easier to become a coach, or is it easier to become a coach if you've played professionally compared with if you haven't played football at top level at all?
Well, once again, I think that's a difficult question. I think that there's a certain amount of credibility that comes with the fact that you've actually played the game. You know, and if you've played the game at the highest level, then that does help, because what a lot of the top players do is they question you. You know, they want to know your experiences as a player. And if you've played at the top level, then you can obviously fire that back to them. But it's not a prerequisite of a coach to be a player, because what I think a lot of coaches should do is become students of the game and get their coaching badges. If they can get their qualifications to be a coach, then that would help them in the long term, because like I said, a lot of players question you, and the more knowledge that you've got, the more ability that you've got. For instance, if a fullback says to you, you know, I keep getting beat on the back post, can you give me any exercises to improve my heading ability on the back stick? Well, you know, as a coach, you've got to be able to put that session on and to show them how it works. And if you've had experience of playing and being in that position yourself, then it obviously helps. But it's not a prerequisite. No, some of the best managers, coaches didn't play the game, and I'll give you a great example, and that's Jose Mourinho. You know, Jose Mourinho was an interpreter for Bobby Robson.
Very true.
You know, at Barcelona. So, you know, but if there's any coaches or would-be coaches out there, my advice to you always is to get your qualifications, and that would always stand you in good stead.
I'm sure we've got quite a number of coaches here. We've got one in particular from he coaches in Nigeria. He coaches in Nigerian club. So someone is asking. He says, "Can you emphasize?" That's Papin. Papin is in America. He's in the United States. So he says, "Can you emphasize on the importance of schooling and soccer for young players?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we pride ourselves. We've come on today talking about a football academy at Brooke House. But the one thing that we always have to emphasise is that we're a school first, and the emphasis is on football in the afternoons, but academically, the students have to get it right in the classroom, first of all, to play soccer in the afternoons. They need to be making sure that their homework and their study time is spent wisely, that their homework is up to date, and that their educational side of things is up to date. So they're studying hard in the classroom, but making sure that that's all in order, because if it's not, then what the coaches do is they're told that they can't play. So there's a real emphasis on
the academics,
educational side of it, as well as the footballing side of it as well.
I mean, there's this myth in Nigeria that players who are very good, they are not sound academically. I mean, we've seen players from Brooke House, and they're very good. Makonjola is very good. He plays good football. I've also seen Arafat.
Yeah.
Who is in, I think, Israel now.
Yeah.
There's this myth that players who are very good, academically, they're not sound. Is that true?
No, it's not true. The simple fact of it is that a lot of them come over to improve their English. We have students from all around the world, so they want to improve their English. They want to develop their academic side of things. So, like we've said before, Amos, that if for instance they don't make it as a professional footballer, they have the tools to then go on to higher education, maybe college in America, university in England. So I think that is a myth.
So that Chongai man is asking. He says, where is the best place or country to get coaching licenses that will be beneficial for the individual on the long run?
Well, listen, I started off in the English FA system and then moved to the Welsh FA courses. So I guess wherever you are in the world, you can log on to the FA, whether it's the Hong Kong FA, the Nigerian FA, and I'm sure on their educational pages they will give you a list of courses that you can go on. Whether that's UEFA A, UEFA B, UEFA C, right up to pro license level, which is what I am. So I would guess that the best course is to click onto your local FA.
Interesting. I'm going to ask you this personal one now. Do you have any regrets in terms of the choices you made as a player or as a coach?
Not as a player, no, because I think what you realise, to be a player, to be a top player, to be a professional player, you should never have regrets. You should apply yourself every day in training, make sure that you do your work. They say when you come off the training ground, you should look at yourself in the mirror. Have you given your all to your coach? Have you been honest with yourself? So from a football perspective, no. There's some games I could have played better in.
Obviously.
I've got to be honest, Amos, I can't remember them now.
Yeah, it's been long.
Yeah, but there's certain games you think, I wish I'd have done a little bit better, or I could have, made that tackle that they scored from. But from a managerial point of view, you always look back at certain times in your career where you say, listen, I could have handled that maybe a little bit better. But generally that comes with experience, and it's not until you retire and you're out of professional football that you can look back at it and say, well, you know what, maybe I didn't handle that the best way. Maybe I should have stayed at Port Vale instead of going to Sheffield United and getting relegated. You know, it's just. But generally, I'm very, very comfortable with my decision making I had in my career. Maybe I shouldn't have left Leicester City. I wasn't under any pressure to leave Leicester City, and you know what sort of an idiot leaves Leicester City under his own accord? That was me, unfortunately. But it's not a time for regrets. It's just time to look back and say, well, you know, I could have handled it a little bit better.
Yeah. I'm going to take a question from Ebo Borise. So Ebo Borise is a coach of a second division side in Nigeria. He studied in the UK as well. He had his coaching license, UEFA B license in the UK. So he says, how proud of a feeling is it for Brooke House when players from the college represent the national teams at junior level?
Well, listen, for us, that not only says something about the player, because that's the pinnacle of every youth player, is to play for his country. We encourage that. But that says a lot about us as a college, us as a school, us as coaches, and it says that we are doing the right things with our students, that they can go on and showcase their talents for their country. So, you know, nobody's prouder of the boys than we are.
Interesting. So Sido Deyinka is asking again, the guy from Dublin. So he's watching from Dublin. He says, does Brooke House College provide coaching courses of different grades to a potential candidate, or just dealing with only football academy for students only?
Coaches, but students can go to level 2 coaching.
Yeah, what we try and do is encourage the boys to be students of the game, as I've said before, and to take their coaching badges whilst still at the school. So there's a certain level they can get to at their young age, and we encourage all students to do that. So they're learning about the process of what is needed to be a coach, and when a coach is asking them to do certain things on the training ground, that they understand it better.
Okay, and I'll take this one from Anta Basim. So he says, how does one gain confidence in playing football?
Well, listen, that's a very, very interesting question, because, you know, I tell the students here that if there was a magic pill that we could all take to give us more confidence, then we would all be taking it. Because deep down in all of us, we all lack a little bit of confidence doing something in our lives. But unfortunately, there's no magic pill. So what you have to do, and my tip for all players, youth players, is to work hard onto the training ground. Work hard on the training ground. Be honest with yourself. Pick up good habits. Have a good week's training, and then take that into the next game. You know, and I always used to say to myself, make the first tackle a good one. Make the first pass a good one. You know, make the first header a good one, and then what that does, it brings you into the game and gives you confidence to go on and play. And also as well, Amos, don't worry about mistakes.
Very important. Very important.
When you're a professional footballer in front of 50,000 people, when you make a mistake, I bet 70% of the crowd in a 50,000 capacity stadium don't know you've made a mistake. It's only until you start berating yourself and, you know, putting your hand in the air that they go, oh, he's made a mistake there. So, you know, just get on with it, you know.
Yeah.
Don't worry about mistakes.
Sometimes these mistakes are not obvious. Like, they're not obvious.
Yeah, of course, that's what I say. You know, half the time people don't know you've made a mistake.
Very correct. Very correct. So Papin from America is asking, he says, can Brooke House students transfer to universities in the US?
Yes.
Okay.
The simple answer to that is yes. And what a lot of universities in America do is they either come over and look at the games and see the talent that's available to them, or we get show reels together for the students to send to the universities and colleges in America. So yeah, it's a two-way thing. They come over and see our talent, and to be honest, that is a good pathway for a lot of our students.
So someone is asking, Tabiola Olamilekon is asking, he says, what's the age range of players that can be scouted by your agency? That is by Shuffle Select. What's the age range, preferably?
Well, we take students. We take students from the ages of 11 to 19 years old.
Okay.
And any age group in between, yes.
All right, guys. We've got another 10-15 minutes to go, guys. So please, I'll go back to my questions on your coaching career. Was there? This is a question from someone, my DM. He says, was there any player you missed out on signing that you look back and say, oh, I should have signed this player?
Oh, listen, when I was managing Leicester City, we had, you know, in the Premier League, there was lots of players that we would like to have signed. I was very fortunate to work with some good players as well. Turkish international Muzzy Izzet, England international Les Ferdinand, you know, Scottish international Matty Elliott. So I've managed a lot of international players, and the unfortunate thing about Leicester City at the time when in the Premier League when I was there was we went into administration, which effectively meant we ran out of money. So the marketplace for international players was very, very small. But one player that I really wanted to sign was a fella called Jimmy Bullard, who went on to have a great career at West Ham and Hull City, and played in the Premier League for many, many years. He was one boy that I would perhaps like to have signed, but finances didn't allow me to.
Interesting. So tell us, who do you think is the most talented player that you've ever seen?
Simple question. Well, listen, if you ask me who was the most talented Nigerian player,
okay,
that was either JJ Okocha or Kanu.
Interesting.
Simple as.
In the world, let's take it to the world.
Right, and then, if we say English player who I played with was a magician called Matthew Letizia, who could do anything with a ball, anything. He should have played. I think he had about 10 international caps. He should have had 50 easily. But the one thing about Matthew was technically very good, but didn't like the physical side of it in terms of running, tracking, bike. But give him a ball, he could do anything with a ball. He was a magician, and it wasn't natural. He had great natural ability, but what he did as well was he worked hard every day with the ball. And he was that good at taking penalties as well. I think out of about 70 penalties, he only missed one.
Whoa, scored 69.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's how talented. I mean, the confidence in the boy was unbelievable.
Interesting. So someone is asking me, the Shanghai man. So Shuffle Select, I would advise that you take some of these questions. You can reach out to these guys after this talk with Micky. So he says, what is the requirement for a student to be part of Brooke House Academy? Must they be football oriented?
No, listen, let me tell you something about the school as well. Whilst we have a football academy attached to it, the school is open to anybody and any standard. Yeah, so we have a league system in terms of the boys that you can either play elite level or you can play lower down. So A team, B team, C team. So the school is open to anybody, any standard, non-selective. you know. So I think that answers the question, really.
Yeah.
So
So official
we don't only we're not only open to elite
footballers.
players. Yeah.
Interesting. So official DLH is from Germany. He's saying, do players get to visit other European countries before finishing from Brooke House?
Yeah. So listen, this is important as well, because whilst you know, it's good for Nigerian boys, elite boys, to play in England. Sometimes the passport situation doesn't allow them to stay and play professional
In
football.
England. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we do is we showcase them in various countries around the world. So we either go to Belgium, France, Italy, Spain. We've even had a trip organised to go to Russia. So we put a group of players together that are deemed good enough to play professionally, and we showcase their talent all around Europe.
All right. I see some of your ex-students that are online. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for joining. I'm sure Mickey is proud of you guys wherever you guys are. All right.
Hey, listen, anybody that comes who has been through the system, they'll know how professional we do and how we work. And I'm sure that they will have learnt an awful lot by being students at the school.
Okay, I've got two more questions for you before I take any other one, and then we call it a day. So, was there any tough player that you met while playing? Who was the toughest player you played against?
Well, do you know what? And there's going to be a really interesting interview that I've just done recently for Brooke House's website. Please go onto the website and check out what we're all about. But there was a Liverpool international, the last Liverpool captain to lift the English First Division title was a man called Steve McMahon, and he won 3 league titles with Liverpool, and he was a hard man. But not only was he a hard man, was, as you would expect, playing for Liverpool, he could play as well.
Yeah.
But he was a really tough guy, and also I played with some tough guys as well. Jimmy Case at Southampton and Terry Hurlock both at Southampton. You know, you wouldn't want to tackle those two boys.
So every time you see these guys, they're trouble for you, man.
Well, I don't play anymore, so they can't tackle me. But you know, they were just as tough off the pitch as they were on it as well.
Interesting. So we've got about 2 minutes. So Instagram is going to take us off because it's hit the 1 hour mark. So we're going to come back and then we'll be able to round off, right? So once this goes off, we'll need to come back. But let's talk about female football. Someone is asking, Cherry Loco. Look, she says, what's the school's position on female football?
Yeah,
Nigerian football talent.
We encourage it. Once again, you know, this is part of our growing school. We have a lot of female students now who want to play football, so we openly encourage that. So I'm not really sure I can say any more. That if there is any girls out there who want to come to the college and do football and study as well, please come.
Okay, that's fine. I think you pretty much answered it. So this might go off in a brief. So is there anybody that has a question? Please get your question. I'm going to take just 2 more questions for Mickey, and then we'll round up. Right, please, guys. So join us again if this goes off, so that we can come back to Mickey and then we'll round off. So Mickey, I have 1 question, and then I'm going to take 2 more questions from the audience.
Okay.
We'll call it a day.
Great. Okay.
Right. So my question, let me spit it out before this goes off. So my question is, which match is your memorable match as a coach?
Oh, as a coach.
As a player.
Okay. Final at Hillsborough in 1987 when we lost 3-2 to Coventry City, who went on and beat Tottenham in the 87 Cup final. So that was one memorable game. In the quarter-final, I actually scored for Leeds with my right foot, which was unusual, from 25 yards. Please look it up on YouTube.
Wow.
That's against Wigan in the 87 quarter final. And then I guess from a managerial perspective, not one real game that I look at. Maybe beating Leeds United 3-0 at the Walker Stadium. That was my first win as a Premier League manager. But the last ever game at Filbert Street, which was the old ground of Leicester City, when we beat Spurs 2-1 to say goodbye to the old stadium before
The old
we moved
stadium.
into the new one. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, thank you so much, Mickey. So, Papin is asking again. He says, "What's your stand on football agency or intermediary? That is, as a football agent or football intermediary, what's your stand?"
Well, my stance is that every player these days has got a football agent. It's as simple as, from youth level. Listen, players are not allowed to get a football agent until they're in the year of their 16th birthday. So if you've got a young 14-year-old out there and an agent approaches him, he shouldn't be talking to them because that is illegal. So it's in the year of their 16th birthday they can talk to agents, and agents can then sign the player when they're 16. But from 16 to 18, all an agent will be doing is making sure that your profile is out there for football clubs. So it's not a money-making exercise. All basically an agent can do between 16 and 18 is making sure that clubs know you're out there, clubs know that you're talented. And then from 18 onwards, when you sign professional terms, then an agent is then busy with contract negotiation, and also if you have to move between clubs. So I would say that everybody then has got an agent.
Interesting. So we're gonna do a final exercise now. So we would want you to name your all-time best 11.
Oh wow, that I've played with, or
let's say.
No.
I mean, if you're going to mention while you're playing.
Oh, they wouldn't know him though, would they? So let me say, in goal, Gordon Banks.
Okay.
Won the cup. Right back. Oh dear. You've put me right under pressure here. Listen, I'm going to put Undidi, Kano, and JJ Kocher in there.
Okay.
Yeah. And Gordon Banks. I want to add George Best to that.
Okay.
I want to add Tony Curry, an England international magician with a football, to that.
Okay.
I then want to add Baresi, Italian international centre half.
Baresi,
yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe. He's put me under pressure. I don't.
You got two more.
I've got two more.
Three more.
Maradona.
Mm.
Messi. Ronaldo.
Interesting.
I've got a lot of attackers there, haven't I?
Okay.
I maybe paid JJ Okocha as a sweeper. I think he could do that. I mean, listen, the thing about Nigeria and raising their profile is what they've got to do. They've got some fantastic individuals, Nigeria. They've got to become a team. They've got to get to a World Cup semi-final or a final. And then I think everybody will be flooding to Nigeria to get the best players.
Interesting. I mean, African teams have struggled to hit the heights, to hit the mark in terms of global football. At the World Cup, the highest we've seen an African team is to get to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Right. What exactly do you think Africa needs to do to surpass those targets?
Well, we've already talked about Nigerian players being great individually.
Yeah.
They've got pace, they're athletic, they're technical. Be worth looking at. But when you put all that together and become a team, then I think that's when the African teams will be better in World Cups. So there's no doubting at all the individual brilliance that they've got. It's just getting 11 players and a squad of players together to go through a tournament without any histrionics, if you like, because they've got the players, they've got the coaches, just applying themselves together as a team, and I'm sure that one day you'll see an African team in a World Cup final.
Hopefully. Hopefully that happens in my lifetime. Thank you.
Hey, Amos, I'm full of praise for the African boys, I have to say. Please come to the college.
Yeah. So one last word from you, Micky, before we go.
Well, all I would say is that I want to thank you for the time you've spent with us, Amos. We at Brooke House welcome and embrace the part that Shuffle plays in attracting boys into our college, and we thank him for that. It's a great showcase that he has there, and we want to encourage the African boys to come because we think our product is good, and it will only make them better as players, whether it be in England, in Europe, or back in Nigeria.
I'd like to say thank you so much, Micky, for this 1 hour plus. If we invite you to Nigeria, would you come?
Of course, I've been many times now. I think I've been 3 times, and I find it interesting every time.
Interesting. Which cities did you visit when you came to Nigeria?
Listen, I've been to Port Harcourt, I've been to Abuja, I've been to Lagos, I've been to Abia.
Okay.
So
That's nice.
Aba, I've been to Aba, Omaya.
Oh, interesting. That means you've been to the east, you've been to the west, you've been to the south, you've been to the north.
I've been everywhere, and I've always come home safe.
Okay, maybe someday.
Also, Amos, you can see in the background, I have an autobiography out as well. It's called Micky Adams: My Life in Football. If anybody wants to buy it, go on to Amazon, and please do.
I think I'm going to order that book today. Thank you so much, Micky, for joining us.
Thanks, man.
Maybe someday in the future, sometime soon, during one of our events at Footballers Connect, we might bring you to Nigeria to come talk to players and coaches, and then we'll get to learn from your wealth of experience. I'd say a big thank you to you guys. Thank you, Shuffle Select. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It's been very enlightening and very interesting having you, Micky.
Thank you, my friend.
Enjoy the rest of your evening and stay safe.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.